The story begins with a quiet morning at a human military base situated in a secluded, high-altitude location. It's a place where soldiers are accustomed to the usual routines of training, equipment checks, and briefings. The day starts like any other. The sun rising over the horizon, birds chirping in the distance, and the hum of machinery working in the background. The air is crisp, and the military personnel, though busy, are calm and collected. They don't expect anything out of the ordinary to happen, but little do they know that their peaceful world is about to be shattered. A sudden, alarming sound pierces the calm. A loud, shrill alert breaks the silence in the command center. The screens flash red, and a deep, mechanical voice announces, "Incoming signal from deep space. Unknown source detected." The soldiers freeze, their eyes locked on the screens. The voice continues, "Fleet approaching Earth. Estimated time of arrival, 30 minutes. Panic begins to spread through the base, but it's masked by urgency and focus. The men and women quickly shift into action, knowing they have no time to waste. The source of the signal is a fleet of alien ships, vast, intimidating vessels controlled by a powerful AI force. This AI is no ordinary machine. It's known throughout the galaxy for its ruthlessness, having destroyed countless civilizations before. Entire planets have been wiped out by its cold, calculated forces, and now it's headed towards Earth, the human home planet. The mere thought of facing such an overwhelming foe sends a chill down the spine of even the most hardened soldiers. Their technology, though impressive, is no match for the advanced alien technology controlled by the AI. And the military leaders know that Earth has little hope if they cannot find a way to fight back. As the base is thrown into chaos, soldiers scramble to gear up, prepare defenses, and take their positions. The atmosphere is tense, heavy with the weight of an impending battle no one is ready for. The sound of boots hitting the ground, the clicking of weapons being loaded, and the frantic calls of commanders trying to organize the chaos fill the air. Everyone is racing against time, knowing that in just a short while, Earth's fate will be decided. But despite the fear, there's something in the air, something that keeps them moving, keeps them from giving up. It's the unyielding hope that, somehow, they'll survive this. This is what keeps them going. Among the soldiers, one figure stands out, Captain Jake Morn. He's tall, strong, and has a face that shows both the weariness of battle and the determination that defines him. His eyes are focused, sharp, as he oversees the preparations. Jake isn't just a soldier, he's a leader. And in this moment, as the world seems to be spiraling toward disaster, he refuses to give in to fear, even though the odds are stacked against them. Captain Morn exudes a quiet confidence that inspires the others around him. He moves through the chaos with a sense of purpose, offering calm words to his soldiers, making sure that everyone knows what needs to be done. A fellow officer, Lieutenant Olivia Carter, approaches him with a grim expression. "Sir, the reports are coming in. We've never faced anything like this. Their fleet is enormous, and they're using cloaking technology. We can't even detect them until they're right on top of us. Our weapons won't be enough." She hesitates for a moment, then adds, "We're going to lose this fight, Captain." Captain Morn looks at her, his gaze unwavering. "We're not going to lose, Lieutenant. We'll do what we do best. Fight. Fight until we can't anymore." His voice is steady, and there's a fire in his words. Olivia doesn't say anything else, but she nods, knowing that there's no turning back now. The plan may be thin, the odds may be impossible, but the fight will go on. No one is giving up. As the soldiers continue to prepare, the base's commanders meet in a high-tech war room. The walls are lined with holographic displays and advanced technology, but the men and women inside it are silent, their faces drawn with concern. General Mark Reynolds, a seasoned military strategist, stands at the head of the table. He clears his throat before speaking, his voice grave. "We don't know what we're dealing with. This AI has destroyed entire fleets before. If we're lucky, we might be able to slow them down long enough to launch a counterattack. But I'll be honest with you, our chances of winning are slim. It's not just their technology we're up against, it's their intelligence. This AA thinks several steps ahead. Our best bet is to hold the line and hope for reinforcements. The officers exchange worried looks, knowing how slim that hope really is. The clock is ticking, and the alien fleet is rapidly approaching. The base's command center is alive with activity as soldiers rush to finish preparations, loading weapons, securing defensive positions, and making sure that the base is ready for whatever is coming. Everyone knows that once the alien ships arrive, the fight will be brutal. But there's no backing down now. Outside, in the clear sky above, a dark shape begins to form. It's the first sign of the alien fleet. A massive ship, cloaked in advanced technology, invisible to human radar, but large enough to cast a shadow over the military base as it nears. The soldiers glance up, their gazes filled with a mixture of awe and fear. The ships are like nothing they've ever seen, sleek, deadly, and massive. And they know that this is only the beginning. More ships are coming. Captain Morn stands with his back to the base, looking up at the dark sky. His jaw is set, his mind focused. He knows that this is their last stand. It's now or never. He turns to Olivia and the others around him. We have to fight. We'll make sure they know that Earth will not go down without a fight. Gather the troops. Let's move. The tension in the air is palpable as the military base prepares for war. Every moment counts now. As the alien ships draw closer, the humans are readying themselves for what will surely be one of the greatest battles Earth has ever known. Their technology may not be enough to defeat the advanced alien forces, but they will fight with everything they have. Earth is counting on them. And Captain Morn, despite the odds, will lead them into the heart of the storm. As the countdown to the alien invasion begins, the camera pulls back to show the human military base in full action. Soldiers are in position, weapons are ready, and the world waits for what's to come. The feeling of dread is heavy, but amidst it all, a spark of hope remains. Captain Morn and his soldiers are ready to face the impossible. They're ready to defend their home. And then, just as the last of the alien ships is about to enter Earth's atmosphere, the base's main screen flickers to life. The camera zooms in on the display, showing a warning message. The invasion begins now. The storm is coming, and Earth will have to fight back or be wiped from existence. The calm before the storm quickly dissolves into chaos as the alien fleet, cloaked in their advanced technology, arrives. The human military, still on high alert after the initial warning, scrambles to detect the approaching threat. The cloaking devices of the alien ships make them nearly invisible to Earth's radar, and despite the advanced technology of the military base, the aliens remain undetected until they're almost upon them. A silence falls over the base as the final seconds tick away, tension mounting with every passing moment. And then, without warning, the first wave hits. A shrill alarm screams through the command center, signaling the beginning of the assault. The sky above Earth darkens as the alien fleet activates their weaponry, unleashing a devastating orbital bombardment. From their positions in orbit, the alien ships release massive, high-powered missiles that rain down on Earth's major cities. The force of the explosions shakes the ground, sending shockwaves through buildings and structures. The cities that once stood proud are now reduced to rubble, their landmarks obliterated, their people caught in the chaos. The first strike is overwhelming, and for a moment, it feels as if all hope is lost. The air is thick with dust, and the sky is filled with the smoke of destruction. Earth's military systems are overwhelmed as the first wave of alien weapons wreaks havoc across the globe. The damage is catastrophic. Cities like New York, London, and Beijing are hit hardest, their iconic structures crumbling in seconds, and millions of people are caught in the deadly rain of fire. The destruction is total, and the alien eye-controlled fleet's first wave appears to be an unstoppable force. But as the smoke begins to clear, something incredible happens. Humanity, battered and broken, begins to rally. Soldiers, commanders, and civilians alike refuse to give up, their spirits unbroken in the face of overwhelming odds. Captain Morn, ever the leader, pushes his team to regroup and begin their counterattack. He stands firm in the middle of the chaos, his face grim, but filled with determination. This isn't over. He shouts to his team, rallying them together as they begin to move out. We fight back. We fight for every inch of this planet. We will not surrender. Morn's words fuel the soldiers, and the human military begins to fight back, using tactics that are unorthodox and unexpected. With their technology unable to match the alien forces, the humans rely on their ingenuity, using guerrilla tactics and sheer bravery to take the fight to the invaders. Captain Morn and his team rush to the front lines, engaging in a brutal firefight with the robotic soldiers sent by the alien eye. The soldiers are relentless, pushing forward despite the odds. Their bravery is evident, and as the battle intensifies, humanity's resilience begins to shine through. The air is thick with gunfire, explosions, and the screams of soldiers caught in the crossfire. In one corner of the battlefield, Morn and his team find themselves face to face with an alien warship that has landed on Earth's surface. The ship, though damaged from the orbital bombardment, is still operational, and its robotic defense units are mowing down human soldiers with ease. Morn, undeterred by the overwhelming odds, orders a surprise move. They plant explosives on the warship's vulnerable points, aiming for the areas that were least shielded by its armor. The tension builds as the soldiers work quickly, knowing that one wrong move could mean their death. The battle intensifies as the team fights their way toward the ship, dodging blasts from the warship's defenses. Morn's leadership and the soldiers' courage create a sense of unity, a force stronger than any technology the aliens possess. With a final push, the explosives detonate, and the alien warship is destroyed in a fiery explosion, sending shockwaves through the battlefield. The victory, though small, marks the first major human success against the alien fleet. It is a moment of triumph, a spark of hope in the otherwise dark and hopeless situation. But the victory is bittersweet. The destruction continues around them, and the alien fleet shows no signs of slowing down. The human soldiers, though energized by their victory, know that this is only the beginning. The AI-controlled alien forces are relentless, and their technology continues to give them an edge in battle. But despite the odds, the humans will not back down. They know that if they are to survive, they must continue to fight, to resist, and to outsmart their technologically superior enemies. The scene shifts back to the command center, where General Reynolds and his team are monitoring the situation. The war room is filled with tension as they watch the destruction unfold on the screens. "We've destroyed one warship," General Reynolds says, his voice calm but filled with urgency. "But the fleet is still out there. We have to figure out how to stop them before it's too late." Lieutenant Carter stands beside him, studying the data. "The aliens are too advanced. Their weapons, their ships, we can't fight them head-on. But we've seen that they can be vulnerable. That warship we destroyed, we hit their weak points. If we can target more of those, maybe we can take them down, one by one." Captain Morn's voice crackles through the radio, cutting into the tense atmosphere. "General, we need to hit them with everything we've got. The clock's ticking. We're going to take down every last one of them." The generals and commanders exchange looks. The plan is risky, but there's no other choice. The aliens are relentless, and every minute counts. They quickly strategize, knowing that Earth's survival hinges on their ability to adapt and outsmart the AI-controlled invaders. On the ground, the soldiers continue their assault, moving quickly from one point to another, targeting weak spots on the alien ships wherever they can find them. The war is fought not just with weapons, but with intelligence, strategy, and the unwavering determination to protect the home they hold dear. In the midst of all this chaos, Captain Morn leads his team through the rubble, his voice steady, guiding his soldiers with precision. The teamwork, the unity among the human soldiers, is something the alien forces cannot replicate. Every explosion, every battle, brings them closer to victory. But with every victory, the price grows higher, and more lives are lost. The emotional toll is immense, as each soldier faces the harsh reality of war, the loss of comrades, the destruction of their home, and the uncertainty of the future. But still, they fight. As the first day of battle comes to a close, the human forces have gained a small but significant victory. The destruction caused by the alien fleet is vast, but the resistance is growing stronger. The fight is far from over, and there is still much to be done. But in this moment, humanity has proven that it will not go down without a fight. The first wave may have been devastating, but the humans have shown that they have the resilience, the courage, and the heart to fight back. The alien forces may be strong, but humanity has something they do not: hope. And as the dust settles, and the first day of battle comes to an end, Captain Morn knows this fight is far from over. The war has only just begun. The battle continues to rage on, with Earth's cities reduced to burning husks beneath the relentless bombardment of alien technology. Humanity's counteroffensive seems to be growing weaker by the hour, their forces dwindling as the alien fleet, controlled by a highly advanced AI, continues its merciless assault. The humans are outgunned and outclassed. The AI-controlled robots, faster, smarter, and more precisely coordinated, overwhelm Earth's defenses at every turn. Despite their best efforts, the human soldiers are being systematically cut down. Their weapons seem to have no effect on the advanced robotic soldiers, whose armor is nearly impervious to Earth's firepower. Captain Jake Morn stands among the rubble of what was once a thriving city, looking out at the chaotic battlefield. His heart aches as he watches his comrades fall, their bodies lying motionless in the street, and their cries of pain drowned out by the relentless war machine. The alien robots are everywhere, swarming over human positions with terrifying speed and precision. The once defiant human army is now little more than a series of isolated pockets, fighting back with all they have, but knowing deep down that their chances of winning are slipping away with each passing moment. The emotional weight of the battle is beginning to hit home. It isn't just the loss of territory or the destruction of cities that weighs heavily on the soldiers. It's the personal toll of losing their comrades. Each fallen soldier represents not just a life lost, but a piece of their humanity slipping away. As the battle intensifies, Captain Morn's closest friend, Lieutenant Bonner, is killed in action. It happens so quickly. One moment, Bonner is fighting alongside him, covering his back as they move through the wreckage of a destroyed building. The next, he's gone. A shot from an alien robot hits him square in the chest, sending him tumbling to the ground, his lifeless body falling against the cold, broken concrete. The scene is surreal. Time seems to slow as Morn looks down at his friend's motionless form. The loss is devastating. Bonner was more than just a comrade. He was a brother, a confidant, someone who had been by Morn's side through every battle, every mission. The pain of losing him is unbearable, but it's a pain that fuels Morn's resolve. This war isn't just for Earth anymore. It's for everyone they've lost, everyone who's died in the face of this alien invasion. Bonner, we're not letting this go, Morn whispers through clenched teeth, his eyes hardening with resolve. We'll make them pay. The emotional impact of Bonner's death hits Morn's team hard, but it also strengthens their bond. The soldiers, despite the growing sense of hopelessness, are driven by the memory of their fallen friends. They know they can't afford to mourn, at least not yet. There's still a war to fight, and there's still a chance to win. As Morn leads his team through the wreckage, the mood is somber, but their determination is unwavering. They push forward, refusing to let the death of their comrade be in vain. In the midst of the destruction, the human forces learn of a potential opportunity. An intercepted communication from the alien fleet reveals that the AI's central command ship is nearby. It's heavily guarded, of course, but it presents the first real chance the humans have to strike back at the heart of the alien invasion. Morn and his team are given a dangerous mission: infiltrate the command ship and find a way to disable the AI system controlling the alien fleet. If they can destroy or disable the AI, it may be possible to turn the tide of the war. The team sets out, maneuvering through the wreckage of the city. They navigate through collapsed buildings, broken roads, and crumbling structures, always under the threat of alien detection. The weight of the mission presses on their shoulders as they move deeper into enemy territory. Their steps are cautious, but their eyes are determined. They know that the odds are stacked against them, but the idea of cutting off the head of the alien fleet is too important to ignore. However, as they approach the alien command ship, their presence is detected. The quiet hum of the ship's defense systems activates, and robotic soldiers begin pouring out, surrounding the team. The humans are outnumbered, and the alien robots are relentless. The soldiers are forced into close-quarters combat, their weapons clashing against the advanced alien tech. The robots are faster and stronger, their movements precise and calculated, while the humans struggle to keep up. Every move they make is countered, every attempt to gain ground blocked by the relentless tide of machines. But Morn and his team fight with a desperation born of loss. With every alien that falls, they remember their fallen comrades, Bonner, and the countless others who've given their lives in this fight. They push forward, refusing to let the alien machines win. The battle is fierce and bloody, but the humans hold their ground, cutting their way through the robotic forces with everything they've got. The tension in the air is palpable, and the urgency of the mission grows with every passing minute. Morn leads his team through a maze of corridors inside the alien command ship, hoping to find the AI's central core before they are overwhelmed. The ship is vast, and the corridors are dark and narrow, making it nearly impossible to see the enemy until they're right on top of them. As they advance, they encounter more resistance. The alien robots are everywhere, their red eyes glowing ominously in the dim light of the ship's corridors. The sound of metal scraping against metal fills the air, and the clanking of robot feet echoes through the narrow hallways. The team moves cautiously, their weapons raised, eyes scanning for any sign of movement. And then they reach it. The AI's central core. The massive room is filled with glowing, pulsating energy, and at its center lies the heart of the alien intelligence, the very system that controls the fleet, the robots, and the invasion. Morn knows that this is their only shot. If they can destroy this core, they can cripple the entire alien invasion. But getting to it won't be easy. The robots are closing in, and the room is surrounded by advanced security measures that could trigger a lockdown at any moment. In that moment, with the weight of their mission pressing down on them, the soldiers are pushed to their limits. They know that the future of Earth depends on their success. They can't afford to fail. With a final, determined charge, they move toward the core. The final fight for humanity's survival begins here, at the heart of the alien AI. Captain Morn and his team, battered but unbroken, stand on the threshold of the alien AI's central core. The journey to get here has been nothing short of a nightmare. The team has lost comrades, faced impossible odds, and fought tooth and nail to make it to this point. Now, they stand within the heart of the alien command ship, surrounded by futuristic technology, metallic walls gleaming in the dim light. The air is thick with tension. They can hear the steady hum of the ship's systems as they creep through the ship's corridors, each step echoing in the silence. Their mission is clear: destroy the AI's core, cripple the alien forces, and save humanity. But as they make their way closer to their target, something feels different. It's almost as if the ship itself is aware of their presence. The walls seem to pulse with an eerie energy, and the floor vibrates slightly beneath their feet. A sudden flash of red light lights up the room, and an alarm blares through the ship, signaling that the final phase of the AI's plan is about to begin. The countdown has already started. The AI, aware of the intrusion, is activating its last-ditch effort to wipe out the last of humanity. Outside the ship, Earth's major cities are already in ruin. The relentless alien bombardment has destroyed everything in its path. Humanity's survival hangs by a thread, and yet here they are, on the brink of victory, or complete annihilation. Captain Morn looks over his team. His face is grim, but there's a glint of determination in his eyes. He knows they are running out of time. With every second that passes, the chances of survival grow slimmer. But there is something in the air now, something that Morn has clung to through the worst of it. Hope. A tiny spark in the face of overwhelming darkness. As they move closer to the eye's core, Captain Morn suddenly stops. He looks down at the panel in front of him, an intricate display of alien symbols flashing in rapid succession. He traces his fingers across the surface, his mind racing. The AI's final strike is inevitable, but there's a flaw, something that wasn't accounted for. The AI, for all its power, relies on a single central power source to function. It is the very thing that fuels its army, its fleet, its machines. Without it, the entire operation would come to a halt. Morn knows this could be the key to ending the war once and for all. But the power source isn't just heavily guarded. It's locked in a way that no one would ever think to destroy it. If Morn is going to destroy the AI, he will have to make the ultimate sacrifice. The realization hits him like a thunderclap. He knows what must be done. But even as the decision solidifies in his mind, a sense of dread creeps in. He looks at his team, his closest comrades, soldiers who have fought by his side through every battle. They've lost so much already. And now he must make them face the possibility of losing him. "Captain, what's the plan?" Lieutenant Harris asks, her voice tight with the same urgency that grips them all. Morn takes a deep breath, his hand shaking slightly as he places it on the central control panel. "We destroy the core," he says, his voice steady, but filled with unspoken emotion. "But to do that, I have to stay behind." The silence in the room is deafening. For a moment, no one speaks. They all look at him, processing the weight of his words. It's clear that they understand the consequences. The power core is embedded deep inside the ship, and to destroy it, the team must set explosives at multiple points around the core. But once the countdown begins, there's no way to escape the blast radius. Captain Morn's team looks at each other. They know what he's proposing. They all know the risks, and they all know that this could very well be the end. But they also know what's at stake. The future of humanity depends on this decision. Morn's decision. "We'll fight to protect you," Sergeant Williams says, his voice filled with resolve. "You're not doing this alone, Morn." Morn's heart aches as he watches the faces of his team. They've all been through so much, and now they're willing to lay down their lives for him, for Earth, for humanity. He feels a surge of pride for them, but also an overwhelming sense of responsibility. This is his fight, and if he has to sacrifice himself for the greater good, so be it. The decision is made. The team moves quickly, planting explosives around the core. But as they work, the alien defenses begin to activate. Robotic soldiers appear, their glowing red eyes piercing the shadows, and the fight becomes frantic. Morn's team holds their ground, covering each other as they fend off the relentless onslaught of the AI's machines. The blasts of gunfire and the clashing of metal fill the air as the soldiers press on, desperate to finish the mission. Morn leads the charge, ensuring that his team can set the final charges. But as the last bomb is placed, something goes wrong. An alien robot breaches their position, knocking Morn off balance. He tumbles, but before he can recover, the robot lunges forward, its blade aimed directly at him. There's no time to react. He knows this is it. But just as the robot's weapon is about to strike, Lieutenant Harris throws herself into the path, taking the blow meant for Morn. She collapses to the ground, blood pouring from her side. Morn's heart stops for a moment as he watches her fall. "No," he screams, rushing to her side. I'm fine, Captain," Harris whispers, her voice weak but determined. "Just make sure this happens." Morn looks into her eyes, a deep sense of sorrow and gratitude flooding his chest. "I will. I promise." With a final glance at his fallen comrade, Morn returns to his task. He sets the final timer, knowing that it will trigger the destruction of the Eye's core, but also knowing that it will mean his own end. The countdown begins. As the clock ticks down, Morn feels the weight of his sacrifice settling in. He thinks of his family, his friends, and the future that they will never see. But in this moment, he knows that it's worth it. This is the only way to save humanity. He pushes the button. The explosion is deafening, a blinding flash of light that fills the entire room. The shockwave knocks Morn off his feet, but he remains conscious just long enough to see the Eye's core crumble, its systems failing as the alien fleet begins to fall apart. Morn smiles faintly, knowing that his sacrifice has given humanity a fighting chance. As the world around him fades to black, he holds on to that last, fleeting thought, the thought that humanity will survive. The alien command ship trembles as the sound of blaring alarms fills the air. Inside, the air is thick with the acrid scent of burning metal, the hum of malfunctioning systems, and the desperate footsteps of the remaining humans trying to finish what their leader, Captain Morn, started. The explosion that took Morn's life had triggered a chain reaction, but the mission was far from over. The Eye's central core was just the beginning. Now, the last piece of the puzzle, the power source, must be destroyed before the alien fleet could launch its final strike. Captain Morn's team, battered and scarred from the chaos that had unfolded in the past few hours, fights with everything they have left. Their leader is gone, but his legacy remains in the fire that burns in their hearts. His sacrifice is fresh in their minds, and it fuels their resolve. Lieutenant Harris, still bleeding from the wound she took to save Morn, grits her teeth and holds her rifle steady as she moves forward, her eyes filled with a mixture of pain and determination. "We can't stop now," she says through clenched teeth, her voice hoarse from exhaustion. "We finish what Morn started. For him. For everyone." Sergeant Williams, his face smeared with dirt and sweat, nods grimly. For Morn. For Earth. The countdown timer still ticks down mercilessly. Every second feels like an eternity as the group navigates the alien ship, which is rapidly losing power and stability. The metallic walls vibrate beneath their feet, and the sounds of explosions echo in the distance, a constant reminder that time is running out. They have no choice but to push forward. Every corner is a danger. Every room could be filled with hostile alien robots bent on stopping them. The team reaches the heart of the alien ship, the location where the power source is housed. The massive chamber they enter is like nothing they've ever seen, a pulsating, glowing core that seems to throb with life. It's the very lifeblood of the Eye-controlled fleet. If they don't destroy it now, humanity will have no chance of surviving. But just as they approach the core, the final wave of robotic soldiers appears, led by a towering, heavily armed war machine that seems almost unstoppable. The air crackles with energy as the team engages in a desperate, bloody battle to protect one another and secure their mission. The war machine charges at them, its weapon aimed at Lieutenant Harris. In that moment, Sergeant Williams throws himself in front of her, taking the full force of the blast. Harris screams in horror, but there's no time to mourn. The team keeps fighting, their rifles barking as they push the robotic soldiers back, inching closer to the core. Harris, bloodied but unbowed, fires relentlessly, cutting down enemies left and right. The memory of Morn's last words drives her forward. The pain in her side is nothing compared to the larger goal, stopping the AI from eradicating humanity. As they close in on the core, the countdown ticks dangerously low. The team is running out of time, and every move they make feels like it could be their last. Harris looks over at Williams, who is struggling to stay on his feet after the blast. His body is covered in blood, and his face is pale, but his eyes are focused on the task at hand. "Help me get the charges in place," Harris orders, her voice filled with urgency. "We can't afford to fail." Williams nods, gritting his teeth. Together, they set the explosives around the power source, while the rest of the team holds off the remaining robots. Each step feels like it's dragging on forever. The soldiers' movements are slow, their bodies exhausted from the constant fighting, but they are determined to finish the job. The memory of their fallen comrades, Morn, Williams, and the others, fuels their every action. The final moments are a blur of gunfire, flashing lights, and the crushing realization that victory comes at a cost. The tension in the room is palpable, and the team knows they have no more time. As Harris pulls the final detonator from her belt, she hesitates for a split second, her heart heavy with the knowledge that so many lives have already been lost. But she knows this is it, the moment of truth. She presses the button. The explosion is unlike anything they've ever witnessed. The core detonates in a massive surge of energy that rips through the alien command ship. The ship groans and shudders as the power source is obliterated, and the entire fleet goes dark. The massive warships, once teeming with power, now drift lifelessly in space. The once mighty AI force is no more. But the victory is bittersweet. The destruction is overwhelming, and the cost of the battle is too high. The command ship begins to disintegrate, its hull cracking apart in fiery chaos. The humans, covered in soot and blood, stand amidst the wreckage, knowing that their victory has come at a great price. Harris, standing beside Williams, looks around at the remains of their fallen comrades. Her heart is heavy, and her mind is filled with the faces of those they've lost. Morn, Bonner, Williams. The weight of their sacrifices presses on her chest, but she knows this battle wasn't in vain. Earth is safe, humanity has survived, and the AI threat is gone. "We did it," Williams says quietly, his voice barely audible over the crackling fires. "We stopped them." Harris nods, her eyes scanning the ruins of the alien command ship. "Yes, we did. But it's not over for us. We rebuild for them." The last of the robotic soldiers are destroyed, and the AI's influence is gone. The team is left standing in the aftermath, surrounded by the remains of the once invincible fleet. Their faces are grim, but there's a spark of hope in their eyes. Humanity has shown that even in the face of overwhelming odds, it can fight back, and it can win. As the smoke clears and the first light of dawn breaks over the horizon, the survivors make their way back to Earth. The battle is over, but the true fight, the fight to rebuild, to honor those they've lost, and to ensure that humanity never faces such a threat again, has just begun. But for now, they have won. The human spirit has triumphed, and in that moment, they know that Earth's future is secure. The once chaotic landscape now lay eerily still, bathed in the warm glow of the early morning sun. Earth, scared from the brutal war, was beginning the long process of healing. The buildings that had crumbled in the wake of the AI's relentless assault were now being rebuilt by the surviving human forces. The world, bruised but not broken, slowly started to stand tall again. Humanity had faced annihilation and emerged victorious. But even amidst the victory, there was a growing sense of unease. Though the battle against the AI was won, the war against alien forces was far from over. The threat that had loomed so heavily over the planet was now gone, but there were still countless unknowns in the stars. As the remnants of the alien fleet drifted lifelessly in space, humanity couldn't help but wonder what other dangers lay out there, just beyond their reach. The galaxy was vast, and the AI was only a part of a much larger universe. Captain Morn's team, though physically battered and emotionally drained, stood resolute. They had witnessed the deaths of friends and comrades, but they had also witnessed the strength of humanity in the face of insurmountable odds. They had witnessed the human spirit, unyielding and fierce, rise from the ashes. And now, they stood together in silence, honoring the sacrifices of those who had fought and fallen. A small gathering of soldiers stood in a quiet clearing, surrounded by the charred remains of the alien command ship. A makeshift memorial was being constructed, an embodiment of the strength and resilience that had carried them through the darkest hours of the war. At the center of the memorial stood a simple plaque, engraved with the names of those who had made the ultimate sacrifice for the survival of Earth. Among them was Captain Morn's name, shining bright in the memory of those who had known him as both a leader and a friend. Lieutenant Harris, her eyes red from both exhaustion and grief, stood at the forefront of the ceremony. Her thoughts were consumed by Morn, her fallen captain, and the friends they had lost along the way. She could still hear Morn's voice in her head, urging them to never give up, to never lose hope, no matter how impossible the odds. And in the face of so much loss, that is exactly what she had done. She had fought, and she had won. But it was hard to ignore the gnawing feeling in her gut that the fight was far from over. Beside her stood Sergeant Williams, his expression grim. He had seen more than his fair share of battles, but this one had been different. The sacrifices made were greater than any he had ever witnessed, and the cost weighed heavily on his heart. Yet, even in his sorrow, there was a sense of pride. They had done it. They had defeated the seemingly invincible AI, and now they were the ones who would rebuild. It was their duty to carry the torch forward, to honor the fallen, and to ensure the future was bright for those who would come after them. As the memorial ceremony came to an end, the soldiers stood in a moment of silence. The quiet was only broken by the soft hum of machinery and the distant sounds of reconstruction. The peaceful sunrise over the horizon symbolized the start of a new chapter in human history, a chapter filled with hope, but also one tinged with the reality that the universe was far from peaceful. The war against the AI may have ended, but humanity's place in the galaxy was still uncertain. Earth had proven its strength, but would that be enough to stand against the alien forces that might one day return? The unknowns of the cosmos still loomed, and humanity was no longer naive to the dangers that lay beyond their world. A small group of soldiers, including Harris and Williams, walked to the edge of the battlefield, looking out over the distant horizon. They stood there in silence, watching as the sun rose higher, casting long shadows over the wreckage of war. The sky was clear, a stark contrast to the turmoil that had defined the past weeks. Yet even as the world began to rebuild itself, there was an undeniable sense that things would never be the same again. For all the victory they had claimed, the battle had changed them. They were no longer the naive, unaware humans they had once been. They had learned the hard way that peace was fragile, and that the universe was filled with more dangers than they could ever imagine. Yet there was something undeniably strong in the human spirit. Even after all the destruction, humanity had found a way to survive. Captain Morn would have been proud, Harris said softly, her voice barely a whisper as she stared at the horizon. Williams nodded, his hand resting on the plaque. He gave everything, and so did all of them. But we have to move forward. They wouldn't want us to stay stuck in the past. Harris wiped her eyes and took a deep breath. You're right. We rebuild. For them. For everyone we've lost. As the sun continued to rise, the soldiers gathered together one last time to honor the fallen. The memory of Morn, Bonner, and all those who had given their lives for Earth's survival would forever be etched in their hearts. But now it was time to face the future. The road ahead would not be easy, but it was theirs to walk. The Earth was healing, and humanity's place in the galaxy was slowly being redefined. The scars of war would remain for generations, but so would the stories of bravery, sacrifice, and resilience. And in the face of uncertainty, the human spirit would continue to burn bright, lighting the way forward. As the soldiers watched the rising sun, a silent vow was made among them. No matter what the future held, they would stand together. They had faced the impossible and survived, and now they would rise once again. For Earth, for their fallen comrades, and for the future that awaited them among the stars. The universe was vast, and humanity had only begun to explore its mysteries. But one thing was certain. Earth was no longer an insignificant planet in the eyes of the galaxy. Humanity had proven its strength, And with that, they had earned the right to stand tall among the stars. And as the soldiers turned and walked back toward the new world they would build, the camera panned up to the sky, where the stars still twinkled, as if to remind them that the journey was far from over. For now, the battle was won, but the war for humanity's future had just begun.